Hello friends, so we have created the date dimension, which was a balanced dimension in our last video. Now we move on to see how do we work with an unbalanced dimension. How do we create that? So to do so, let me go back to our data source view and add few tables. So what do we add is we add the employee table and add the related table for this dim employee, and we say okay. So this adds 3 tables to our data source view. So cool. So again, for the employee, let's try to add a named calculation, full name, and let's feed in the expression. So that's the table has been added. Now if we go back to the employee in our database dim employee table, let's take a look at how the data has been arranged. So we have the employee key, which is the primary key for the employee table, and then we have a parent employee key. So this is kind of a hierarchy wherein there is an employee, and then we have his supervisor, then we have his manager. So if we look at the data of the employee table, so what do we see is, or rather let's run this query. So what do we see is there is an employee key, and then we have his parent employee key. So it has a self-referencing foreign key within the table, and that's how it has been generated, and the data has been generated. So if we look at the schema, we again see the same thing being confirmed. We have the foreign key for the dim employee table, where the parent employee key references the employee key of the same table. So that's bear that in mind, and keeping that in mind, we are going to create a hierarchy where we can see the complete employee hierarchy in the form of an unbalanced one. So where we mean what we mean by that, we'll see that in due time. Now let's go back to our business intelligence development studio, and we have already added the table. Now let's start creating the dimension. So we call a new dimension, and then we use an existing table. Let's use the dim employee table. We have the employee key, which is the primary key, and then let's select the employee full name as its name column. Let's for now not use the sales territory dimension. Let's simply go with the existing base table. Now out of these values, let me just pick one or two quickly. Let's say I go with the hire date and then the department maybe. Okay, now the sales territory key, I want the department. So department name, and that should be it for now. Right, so we are done. We have picked up employee key, parent its parent employee key, hire date, and department name, and then the dimension has been created. Now if we take a look at the data source view window, what do we see here is there is a self-referencing mark against which has arrow which points out on the employee key, which says that the employee key is referencing its parent employee. So basically what we see here is if we double click, okay, we should be doing this on the data source view. We can see that the data source. So that's what we see. If we see that the employee parent employee key is referencing the employee key of the same table, so that's something which has been confirmed here. Now let's go back to our dimension, and let's try to see the properties. Now if we take a look at the employee key, we have seen that we are using the full name as its name column, and we are good with this. Now let's go to the important aspect, that is the parent employee key. So all the properties on the parent employee key is something which is really important to us. So let's take a look at each of them. So we are going to use the employee key, parent employee key. First of all, we will try to take a look by processing this, and then let's see what else we've missed out here. Okay, processed. Now if we take a look, we have the parent employee key, we have the all, we have the parent employee key. Since the parent employee key is referring the employee key, we don't see that, and the employee at levels 2, and then the reportees are there. Now the important thing is, if we look at, we can see David M. Bradley appearing twice at the same level, and then we also see Amy E. Albert appearing twice at the different levels. So in a standard organization, an employee appearing at the same level would mean that there would be people reporting to the employee, and the employee would and the employee's personal performance would also be judged as an individual. So there will be two parameters where we would like to take them out for exclusively, for example, for a manager. But this is something that seems incorrect here. We need to rectify this. Also, if this hierarchy could have started from Ken directly instead of all, we do not need aggregation as such in this scenario. And as I said, this is an unbalanced hierarchy. Why is that so? Because any from any particular level, uh, to reach out to the top level, there are no defined or right number of intermediate hierarchies. Which I mean is, if I were to, if David were to transverse to the top level, he would have to traverse only twice, or rather once. But Amy at the same level would have to traverse more than once. So that is where this is an unbalanced hierarchy, and an unnatural one, obviously, for obvious reasons. Now let's go back and try to fix these issues. First of all, as I said, we for this data appearing twice, we would have to do away. How do we do that? So select the properties, and then go and say, with members data, you can put it as hidden. Now members with data captions. So what do we do is, for the data which is the same level, David M. Bradley, we would want to exclusively understand that he reports directly to himself, at least for one of them. So how do we do that? To achieve that, let's go with and put so, and then we can also add a naming template at various levels. So let's say CEO, let's say manager, let's say manager, engineer, let's say staff. So let's put these 6 levels as well. So I've added 6 levels here, and then we have configured 3 properties, if you've seen that. So that's done, and then we also set the is aggregatable. Now we go back to the employee property, and we see that the attribute hierarchy is visible is set to false. That is why we are not seeing in the browser the employee key. Right, so let's also set the it is aggregatable to false, because this is not aggregatable. So that's done. So let's pick the default member. As we had said, let's choose one. and then process it. We have fixed all the problems that we had seen so far. Now let's go back, refresh, reconnect, and what we see here is in the parent hierarchy that the hierarchy starts with Ken, who is the CEO, and then so forth. We have defined the hierarchy names also. So, and Amy is not appearing twice. But for Bradley, we can see his name is appearing twice, and let's just take a look at the property. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. So that was your fourth and the final one, where you have the parent-child relationship hierarchy and the unbalanced and unnatural one. So we have been able to create the dimensions, and now that we are all set with the dimensions, we'll move ahead and try to bring up the cube. That would be in the next video, folks. I hope this has been helpful. Keep watching, and if you really like this video, make sure that you subscribe to this channel. Thank you friends.